Fun fact about me, I have struggled with intrusive thoughts. And actually, when I started communicating with my spirit guides, I began to struggle way, 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 way more with intrusive thoughts. And it's not because they were whispering intrusive thoughts into my ear like some people, like many people, believe with malintent. It's actually because of the nature of intrusive thoughts and what makes them worse. Okay. So, for reference, intrusive thoughts are not, oh, I decided to have a thought about beating somebody up who made me mad. That's not an intrusive thought. Okay. Intrusive thoughts, by definition, are thoughts that feel foreign, that feel alien, that don't feel like they're coming from you, that you don't want. You don't want these thoughts. These thoughts make you feel uncomfortable. They make you feel disturbed. They make you feel icky. That's intrusive thoughts, okay? And so my intrusive thoughts started getting a lot worse when I started communicating with spirit. And the reason has to do with what perpetuates intrusive thoughts. So when I started getting really bad intrusive thoughts, when they started amplifying, I decided to turn to free resources because I'm a person who does not have health insurance. And I got on YouTube and I found psychologists and psychiatrists and mental health professionals who post free content on YouTube. And I did like a deep dive into intrusive thoughts. And I found that a lot of them were basically saying that the thing that makes intrusive thoughts worse is not wanting the intrusive thoughts, aka feeling like the intrusive thoughts mean something bad about you. Like the feeling that I don't want these intrusive thoughts because they make me bad, because they make me icky. So reinforcing the shame that comes with the intrusive thoughts reinforces the intrusive thoughts. It's like the whole red button thing. If there's a red button that says do not push, you want to push it. You want to push the button more. So intrusive thoughts, from what I gather, are kind of like that, where the more you're like, I don't want these intrusive thoughts, and you attach like shame and bad feelings to the intrusive thoughts, the more they come up. And this seems pretty clear to me. Like once you realize it, it seems pretty clear because obviously, if you're constantly thinking about not wanting to have a thought, you're going to have the thought more because you're thinking about the thought by saying you don't want the thought. Like if I'm saying, I do not want to drive my car into a tree. I do not want to drive my car into a tree. I do not want to drive my car into a tree. Then by default, I am reinforcing the thought of driving my car into a tree. Now, the reason my intrusive thoughts got way worse when I started communicating with spirit is because I realized how telepathy works. And I realized that my thoughts were not necessarily always private. Okay? Because if you're communicating with spirit, you're communicating oftentimes with telepathy, essentially. Okay? Because it's not always out loud, it's usually in your head. And then if you're a person who has intrusive thoughts, you start to go, oh crap, these intrusive thoughts are not just for me. Other beings have access to these intrusive thoughts, and not just any beings that I actually care about, and I care about what they think about me and their opinion of me. And that makes the intrusive thoughts worse because the second you have a thought that you're like, that was weird, I don't like that at all, then you go, oh my God, did somebody hear that? And then, and then it just keeps hitting you. But the cool thing about that, and it's like, obviously, again, it's another one of those things, it's easy to explain, but it's not easy in practice. It is not easy in practice. It made me realize how heavily tied shame is to our internal monologue. Because we can talk about holding space and understanding that nobody's perfect and all this stuff all we want, but it is still deeply ingrained into the collective to exhibit no weaknesses or perceived weaknesses. And if we exhibit perceived weaknesses, I don't care. Especially those hippie snitches who are all love and light, who are all like, oh, love everyone, da 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 da. Like, especially hippie witches who are toxically positive, they especially tend to be the ones who, the second you exhibit true, raw human emotions, they're gonna cut you. They're gonna, like, they're coming for your throat, okay? And it's just like something that's like so heavily, deeply ingrained in our society that when I found that when I was forced to confront my shame attached to other people's perceptions of me because of telepathy, I found that it made the intrusive thoughts and the internal monologue on hyperdrive. And it gets to a point where I literally, like, I'm forced to do nothing but, like, the only thing that can fix it is to truly go within and examine the shame attached to conditioned perfectionism.